shall we start the meeting? And I'll start by doing a roll call. And let's start with Rick Accountis.
Here.
Marshall Allen. Here. And she's not here. Oh, is she coming in? Okay.
Ann, are you here?
I'm here.
Paul Mayer.
Here.
Philip Chuckelmeyer.
Here.
And Alan Wooden.
Here.
Everybody's here. Next item on the agenda is approve the agenda. And there is one little mistake there on number 3. It says for A to June 26-23 golf course advisory board meeting.
Oops.
So,
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes with the amended date.
a second.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. The third thing is to approve the previous month's minutes for June 26.
I got a correction on that as well. It says, well, I didn't attend last month's meeting, but it says when adjournment, I approved, or seconded the adjournment.
I'm confused. I'm sorry to hear.
I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
He was not here the last, I wasn't here last meeting, but I disapproved it.
Well, then I can fix those.
Well, that's pretty talented.
She's been doing that.
I dialed in.
She's been doing that every month for the past few years. This is the first one to finally catch it. So good job.
Thank you. Gotta do what I say.
Can I have a motion to approve the minutes as corrected?
Motion to approve the minutes as corrected.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously. I don't think we have any public people. Let's see, there we're going to number 5. Communications from the pros. Keith, Ryan, and Sam. Keith.
All right. We had an absolutely outstanding July, the single best revenue generated month ever. I think it couldn't be. We've never made that much money in one month. The rounds are a little skewed because I forgot to bring in the league rounds, so those are going to show up in August, so that'll balance out. It'll be more in August and less in July. Those rounds come in at 0 because revenue comes in May or June. So the revenue run in early and the rounds run in month to month. Sometimes the months get by and we forget to bring those rounds in. So anyway, great month, 236. We're up 131 for the year. And just a little bit down in round, which I'm fine with. And we're having another great month. We went over $200,000 as of yesterday for this month as well. So 4 straight months over $200,000 is remarkable. It really is. And I remember the days when we used to be happy to get to like 130. And those days weren't that long ago. So to be able to do this is really awesome, really exciting. So great month. Golf course is in great shape. Brian's done a fantastic job. And looking forward to September and then October and November.
Right.
Say the same with what Keith said there, kind of knocks it. It's been, July was fantastic. Sunset was projected for 74,697 revenue, and we came in at 106,562. And then rounds projected at 5,069, came in at 5,166. Again, courses are in fantastic shape. Ryan and Danny have done a fantastic, not me. Danny Stoll. But those guys have been doing a fantastic job. And that's all I have really.
Okay. Sam?
Same here. July was a record month for Deep Creek as well. May was the first month we ever went over 300. So this is 3 months in a row. 331,825. So far in August, we're at 282,000, which is exactly where we were last year for the entire month of August. I think we're gonna hit 300 again, I think we're real close. So it's been an amazing summer. Rounds are slightly up. Course has been in great shape. Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's kind of a hero this year with all the rain and everything. But the guys here in Longmont, they just do an amazing job. I hear from the outside folks that come in from other courts, I hear it all the time. What a great job these guys do. So they're delivering a great product, and the golfers are done. They're good.
Anything else? Okay, item 6, old business. There is no old business. Item 7, irrigation sidewalk. Who's doing that?
I am. Alright. So just have a presentation here for you guys on one of the project the bond project we got done. We got had this money back from all the bond projects. They won this with the maintenance building and Twin Peaks' irrigation system. So this was just a small one that we had in there that got approved back in 18 for, I think we had 282,000 in there. The satellites came out to about 253, so that gives me a little bit more money to spend. Can't wait. Always. So yes, it is one of the bond projects, and it's going to be the new operating system out at U Creek. Ours was back off of 1995 was when the irrigation system went in. So this is what the satellite boxes. They looked probably a little nicer back then, but this is what they look like now. We took them out in, I think it was May, and this is what the 2023 satellite boxes look like. So not only does it help the aesthetics out there, I mean, obviously they're tucked off into the out of bounds, so people do see them and they obviously look a lot better. So this is the inside of the new controllers here. The old controllers had 32 stations, so they basically just had one of these front side. That's 32 stations right there. So U Creek, some of the fairways are so spread out there that we had to have a lot of stations doubled up, so there'll be like 2 wires going into there. But these satellites, they have 64 stations, 32 on the front, 32 on the back. So therefore we can have 64 stations total per clock, which lets us have individual control, which gives us better control out in the field. We don't have as many wet spots, dry spots. It helps give us balance everything out a little bit. So this is the front side here. You can see all that stuff up there. There's fuses up there. There's fuses down here. Those fuses help with lightning strikes. So if there's some lightning that came in the area, those fuses would blow down there at the bottom instead of frying the whole satellite. So you're replacing a $5 fuse compared to a $40,000, controller and stuff like that. So, and then this is the back side. They have the same thing satellites here. This is, this stuff's over my head too. I could give you a little bit about it, but that's why we have our contracts with 4ONS, and they help us come out of something like that goes wrong too. So that's the irrigation satellites that you guys see out there on the course. And then this is what's on the inside. So if that top flips up, then this is what you'll see here. So this is the old faceplate from the 1995 satellites. You could do about 2 or 3 things on this satellite. You can see a multi-manual and a syringe here. That's about all you can do. You can go inside on the bottom there. You can flip stations on. But this satellite here, or this faceplate here, is called, you can do basically everything you can do at the central computer. So this is basically a computer right here. You'll see you got the home button there, so you'll hit that. That'll take you to the home screen. It'll show you date, time, when it starts to run. Like say our irrigation starts at 8 o'clock, it'll show you what's coming on there and how long it runs, and every satellite you can work your way through the whole thing. The screen that's on there right now is multi-manual, so you see they have stations 1 through 5 run for 12 minutes, and stations 6 through 12 run for 6 minutes. So then you scroll down, and where it says it's how many you want to run simultaneously, usually run 1, and then they'll work their way through their progression for the amount of time that you have on there. So you can kind of set them up if you have time. A lot of times we have to run 4 or 5 at a time because we're trying to beat golfers, and golfers coming up behind us. So we don't want anybody to get wet and kind of ruin their day. So that's a nice feature. Same as here, except you can run more stations at a time. My favorite one probably is a diagnostic key. You can check, you can run satellite, not satellite stations. They have a key where you can go and turn that, and it'll go 1, 2, 3, all the way through. It's a good way to be able to get out into the field and check, make sure everything's working. And you can go through a lot faster. This one, you'd have to go down there, toggle it on the bottom, and go all the way through this way, so you can keep your head up and still work through and know where golfers are and all that stuff. So, but you can check amperage to the south or to the irrigation heads, which means solenoid should be running about 0.2 amps, and if it's up or above that, it means your solenoid could either blow or not have enough power to turn it on. So either one of that, your head's not going to work. So there's a unlimited number of things that this faceplate can do. We usually use maybe 3 or 4 of the main things that you can do in there. Like, there's a communication check. You can check from the field, make sure all your satellites are talking, therefore you know they're working. So it's crazy what they can do there. It's called a smart satellite for a reason, and that's what it is. It's basically a computer out in the field. So this is what's set up in our office. That's a map of the whole course, and it's hard to see, but this every sprinkler head that we have on the course is on this map. There's a little dot on there, so you can scroll around the map and find each head, and you can turn it on from here. You can adjust the percentages up and down. Like if there's a wet area out there, you can just adjust the percentages down or up depending on wet or dry. This is kind of the hub of all the different things you can do from the central computer, and I'll just go through a few of those. So this is the control center. This has every single head out there on the course, which there's about 1,800 heads up there and 40 different satellites. So this is, I think this is number 3. It'll start with all the T's right there, go to the roughs, but when we purchased this from Toro, and it's saying they went in and put all this stuff in there for us. There's definitely some tweaks that we've had to do out there. They didn't get everything exactly right, but they got everything hooked up and the majority of it in there. So we've had to go through and, like I said, with that diagnostic tool, go through and write down if it's actually a T, if it's actually a rough, so because everything runs at different percentages. So you want to have everything dialed in there exactly to where it is on your course. But then you'll see there's the number of sprinklers. Sometimes if we do have a couple doubled up, because the way we had to do it in the past, we had to what they call daisy chain some heads together so we could get some in some areas where it was getting dry. And then they have the type of sprinklers. We have 750s, 780s, infinity type of sprinklers. Those are all different heads that Toros came through in the years, and then the nozzle type. And then this over here is an arc where you can see these are like along the cart path over here. So they're running only 180 degrees compared to 360, which, out in the fairways are everything you want to run 360. So yeah, there's 40 different things of these, and you got to go through and make sure everything's dialed in. So watering plan is what we set up every night. You'll see it starts with greens, tees, fairways, roughs over there. So how we water is by ET, and it's not like the exact ET that you're losing in a day. If we were to try to replace that with water, we'd be running until 10 o'clock in the morning, starting at 8 o'clock at night. So we try to get close, and this does a good job. If we were to water that much, everything would be soaking wet out there every time. There's times when it gets away from us and we have some wet spots out on the course, so we try to dial it back. But you'll see where it says, and sorry, this one's kind of blurry too, but it says percent adjust. So that's where we put in, we usually try to water between 0.05 and 0.2, something like that. Like that hot stretch in late July, there was a lot of 1.5, 2.0 nights where we put that much water out there. And but try to keep it on the dry side. Brown's okay, we just don't want it to start losing turf out there. Brown's more playable than sockings are, soaking wet turf. And then they have a start time. We start at sunset, plus 11 minutes, so that just gives golfers a little bit of chance to get off there. And they have a feature which is really nice here. You can start like 16, 17, and 18 a little bit later. Like we have 16 starting 15 minutes past sunset, 17 starting 20, and 18 starting 30, just in case those last couple people are taking a little longer, like the pros like straggling around out there. So that's the watering plan, and then this shows me what's watering for the night. So you can see right here, it's starting at 8 o'clock, and this one's running till about 2:30 in the morning, and that's at probably about 1:00 to 1:05 ET for all the different programs we have there, and you can see there we're at about 500,000 gallons for the night. So that'll show me if I missed something, if I have something that's off, and as far as time, and it's starting up here, if it was starting up here, then I can go back and adjust it before the night comes and we start blasting golfers. And then this is probably our favorite one. The salesman that sold us this system says that this is like your morning cup of coffee. You go in there and check everything. This will show you what ran, what didn't run. It'll show you everything that happened the night before without going out into the field and being able to check or miss it. Like if you don't see anything running for a few days, you'll see it on here before you start getting brown or too wet or something like that. It'll give you if it's running above expected time or below expected time. It's just a really handy feature of this new system. Our old stuff was not even close to this. You were having to be out there. There was time with the old system that stuff would blow. That's why we had the problem with 3 green last year. We didn't know that it wasn't running, and then you lose turf. So this would have showed us right away that wasn't running, and we could have been out there a little quicker. So that's just a quick overview of what that bond project did for us, and it's been night and day difference for us out there. I think the course has been a lot better for it. I mean, obviously the rains helped us this year. We haven't had the water as much, but this has definitely helped too. So anybody have any questions about the new operating system?
Two questions. First, does it measure consumption, water consumption?
No, we don't have any like sensors or anything out there. You can, but then
We've got a great year with rain and everything.
Right.
When we get in a drought condition, I know you can measure by time, but I was wondering if you could do it by consumption.
Yeah, no, that's like an irrigation audit type thing where you go put catch cans out there and kind of see, but we don't have anything like that out in the field on a daily basis.
Wondered if the system did it.
No.
But you know how much water you're using.
Yeah.
That's your question, right?
What's that?
How much water you're
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant how much was actually going into the ground.
No, just how much you're probably.
Oh yeah. That's what I said. Like that 500,000 was kind of that's a really dry or a hot night. We're putting out 500,000 gallons over the whole course.
Gotcha.
So yeah, sorry.
And what's the warranty on the system?
They're pretty good. Like the operating system is I would imagine like a couple of years, but they'll come out and we actually have a contract with Toro, which we call it NSN. They're coming and they'll replace everything. That's anytime, like if we were to get a lightning strike or something like that, they would have a new controller, or we have field interface unit, they call it. It's what sends the signal out to the field, out to those satellites, and they would have that sent to us. So basically, we're covered no matter what, but we pay for it in the long run.
So we're good.
Yep, we're good.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
So does Toro provide you with like mobile access so you can access?
Right, yeah, I can
iPad or something?
Right, I can do everything from my phone.
Yeah, a lot of times easier with a phone or an iPad than with
Yeah.
console buttons.
So if you do see me out there, I'm not texting or anything. I'm usually turning on heads or scrolling the internet or something. But yeah, they do, and they're great. They have 2 different apps. They have one that's an actual app. You can do basic stuff on it, and then you can get into the cloud. Everything's on the cloud for them, so it's called Links Cloud that you can get into, and it's kind of I wouldn't say a dumbed down version of it, but it's just a little less, but you can still do the main things that you need to do. It doesn't have all the different stuff.
Just one more question. I maybe you said it, but is this just for you?
This one is for you. Sunset has same operating system, and as soon as Ryan gets his irrigation system going, he'll have it
Oh, okay.
also. So, and it, ours, I had to go put in all those sprinkler heads on that map because ours isn't GPS. So when he gets his, everything's gonna be to the, inch out on the ground and all that. Ours is guesstimated, and that's why I'm going back through all the stations too, because some of the wires got put into different areas, and so it's a whole process. Like, it's gonna take us this year to get it completely done. Right, yep. But they did most of the work, the hard part, the technical stuff, and they did all the satellites, they rewired everything, bolted them down, hooked up all the power, the communication, all that stuff. They did all that stuff for us. So
Great.
yeah, it was one of those things where you were waiting. We did it in maybe like October, and they said, oh, they'll be here in December, and then we got pushed back. Every month it got pushed back. Toro's having a tough time with the supply chain, with irrigation and equipment right now too. So, but they're the top of the line, so you wait for it.
I haven't played since the middle of last week, but then there were a few wet spots, but generally speaking, the fairways in particular were just sensational.
Yeah, they've been, I appreciate that. They've been good this year, and I don't know if it's the new system or if it's the rain that's helped us out and I'm in the water. I'm going with the system. I'm not giving the Toro guys credit. So, but like I said, it is still a work in progress. So there are a few areas, I know what you're talking about, and trying to find that exact balance is the key. Because we had it kind of dialed in with the old system, but this is 100% different. So.
The one thing that'll help Dan out a lot too is his old system was controlled by every 3 seconds. So a signal was set out, so if something was set to stop running at, say 9:05 p.m. on the dot, or 9:05 and 2 seconds, his old system would round up to every 3 seconds for control. His new one is to the second. So
yeah, it's probably actually more like it went to the minute almost before, but yeah, that's their whole selling point now too, is everything's dialed into the second, and it fills in all the gaps like that. Water window, the pyramid thing I showed you, it fills in all those. If something shuts off, it'll fill that in and keep it nice and tight too. So it was well worth it. Any other questions about the new system? Any questions about irrigation in general? No? All right, well, that's...
Well, thank you very much.
You bet.
Appreciate it.
That's
Appreciate
one
the
of the
presentation.
bond projects we got done. We got one, Jeff.
The next item is the bond project update.
That would be me. So we are, after 5 years, finally getting very close. Didn't say we're there, but we're getting very close. So we are currently in contract negotiations with a company to do the maintenance facility at U Creek. From the time that we met in June until tonight's meeting, and actually August 8th, we were $2.2 million short in trying to make this happen. So staff worked with the finance department, and Golf actually took out a loan of $1.7 million from the city's fleet fund to get us closer, and then we're going to use $500,000 more dollars. More, I say more because we already used $1.5 million this year to pay to get us what we thought would pay for it. We're still $2.2 million short. We're borrowing $1.7 million, and we're taking $500,000 away from our fund balance to be able to get this done. And the fear is if we wait another year to make this happen, we're afraid we're going to be $1 million or $2 short again. So The payment for the 1.7 million is for 10 years at around $200,000. And the timing of that worked out well, and part of the reason why it could be considered is that the debt for Ute Creek is being paid off this year. We had one final payment of $80,000, and we were gonna own the golf course outright. But again, because the decision was made, and it was money 25 years ago to not build a maintenance facility, that we cannot continue to operate in our existing facility. So it's our hope that we will actually, on Thursday of this week, have our first construction meeting, and construction could actually start by October 2nd. So things are really starting to move along. This is the view from the Highway 66. This is the maintenance facility, 2 bays, and then the storage facility. And I think you've all seen these, but I'll just show them again since we're talking about at least something positive for a change. Sorry. Gives you kind of a view of the site plan. Highway 66 is up here, our parking for staff, maintenance building, just about 4,700 square feet, and then storage, cold storage for all of our equipment. Most of that equipment right now sits out in the elements all year long. So that's going to be some really good options for our wear and tear. Anybody remembers the silo has been designated as a historic preservation thing, so that will be staying. As soon as the work is completed with the maintenance facility, we'll be spending about $50,000 to $70,000 on the silo because it has some foundation damage that we'll need to take care of. We have a company ready to go, but didn't want to do that until the other construction was completed. Rick, did you have a question?
I do. What's the purpose of the silo?
The purpose of the silo.
And why are we spending all the money on it?
Because it is designated as a historic landmark.
Damn it.
And
It's required by the city.
we are required to not do anything but fix that silo. So it's not going anywhere.
Jeff, I thought you said at one time that a portion of the building was gonna just be a roof rather than the building.
That was one of the things we were considering. Because we borrowed the money, we're gonna get we're gonna build out what we need, and that should last Dan for the next 15 years as he's supervisor. And then the final drawing I'll show you is just kind of a view of what the buildings will look like. So one of the requirements by the city is that you cannot build a building that's 150 feet long without it having some type of roof line change. Every 30 feet is how that happens. So we've done some things that, go one more slide here, that instead of having to pay a great deal of money to drop down and go up, because when it's over the maintenance area, you can't drop down because then we can't use the lift to raise our equipment. So we were able to do some color differential and some just adjustment on the peaks to be able to address that. The other thing is you can't just build a metal building. So as you look at this, to tie to kind of the silo or the farm kind of look. We've tried to use some garage doors, barn doors, some different colors along the building to try to make it look better to the surrounding neighbors than just a metal building. And so that was all required as a part of the planning process, which took us about a year to get through with different types of our times we had to go back after they gave us feedback. So anyway, October 2nd, we're headed in the right direction to be able to complete that project.
At what projected cost at this point?
It's right at 5.4 million, right? The golf, sorry, the irrigation, 4.4 million is what that has, which includes, this is a large number, but we need to have $800,000 in contingency to address those things that come up throughout the project. So if they dig out in the ground and all of a sudden we have some type of groundwater issue, we have to have that money set aside. Hopefully we won't have to spend all of that, but that is a part of it. On the irrigation, it's just under $5.4 million. And to be able to make that project happen, we had to take out some of the things we wanted to have done. And I would say here at Twin Peaks, we'll be getting about 90% of what we wanted to have done. We really wanted to do more around the surrounding edges so that those of you that golf here know how dry it gets towards the edge on 10 and out on 2. And we'd like to we wanted to try to carry that out to the edges, but we had to make some cutbacks to be able to do that. But other than that, this project will be almost completely done. Sunset, we've had to back off even more. We can't afford to do any of the replacement of the water lines in the ground. What we're going to do is in 15 we replaced all the sprinkler heads on the south side of Long's Peak. They're going to go in and replace all of the heads and rewire so that we can do some of the controlling that Dan described this evening. And then we'll also do work on our pump stations to be able to replace pumps and motors, so that will all be brand new. And then we'll need to start saving money to start replacing the lines at some point over there. So that's kind of where we're at with the two projects. Again, the election was passed in November of 2018, and it's taken us a lot more money and a lot of time to be able to start moving some dirt and building things. If things all go to plan with our contract, work could start as early as late October or November here at Twin Peaks, and some work over at Sunset. The primary work that will happen during the winter is replacement of the 2 pump stations that we have here, and again, the work we'll do at Sunset. So kind of a quick update on those projects. It is a really good feeling to at least be able to start getting some work done, because it's been a long time coming. Any questions or thoughts?
Great job, all of you guys. I know it hasn't been easy, and I know it's been frustrating, and what a process, and what a great job you guys grinding through. I can't imagine how many meetings, and then you get it back, and then we gotta go make changes, and it's just, you guys, what a great job. So it's nice to be being able to at least see the race now. So
Yeah. Let's talk about thank yous in about a year.
let's just start moving, Barry.
Yeah.
I didn't say thank you. I said great job. Great job moving it to this place.
So anything else about one of these presentations? Okay, let's move on to number 8, which is items for the staff.
I do have some. So it's nice that all the board is here tonight to be able to have this conversation. I want to check in with everybody to make sure you as board members are feeling like you have a purpose and that you're being able to provide input. And some of our meetings, we're virtually done and we've been here for 35 minutes. And I just want to hear from you about, are you okay with that? Or what things would you like to see on the agenda that would give you the opportunity for more feedback, or again, to make the board feel like it has more purpose?
I'm gonna raise my hand. I want to hear. I want to know what council thinks. I mean, we can give advisory thoughts and suggestions and share our feelings about what's going on in the golf course world and recreation in general, I guess. But what does council want on this? Are we just rubber stamping stuff, listening to you guys tell us all the great things you're doing, or does council have a purpose for us? Okay.
Are there some things where you're running into, roadblocks where input from some of us might help? I mean, there's people with extremely varied backgrounds on this board, and maybe there are some things that we can contribute. I mean, if we're talking about the Ute Creek clubhouse project, for instance, obviously that's going nowhere for the foreseeable future. Is there anything that we could offer in the way of suggestions to maybe make some modifications, do some things a little differently that we feel might accomplish most of the purpose, but yet enable us to get to a little bit sooner because it might be a little less expensive or a little more efficient? I don't know.
We're looking at, we're starting to talk about fees for next year as far as our membership and passes. Is that something you all would like to talk about?
Yes.
Okay.
It's not going down.
I think that would be a great conversation because it also gives us more of an opportunity to really talk about how much more expensive things are with our operation. Paul and I, early in the year, had a conversation about the cost of going up for cart rentals, and having that conversation, I think, helped Paul better understand how much more we're paying for carts this lease period than we have been in the past. So being able to share that and having two-way conversation where I get tired of, I feel like staff does all the talking or the pros and you all are listening, but we're really not giving you enough opportunity to talk to us instead of the other way around. So fees, we'll probably look at bringing to you in October to at least start that conversation.
So I'm kind of going in line with the fees, and I don't know if anybody's done this or not. Have we looked at what other courses, I don't know if anybody's tracked it as far as what other courses are raising fees, percentage-wise or dollars, over the last 5 years, that we could have a comparison as well to see that we're staying in line with everybody else and not putting ourselves out of the market, because we've been doing great with revenue now. I just don't want where we put ourselves out of the market because we're going to raise our fees too much.
Right.
And as long as we've got a study or some data points to look at to make sure that we're not doing that.
Yep, Danny has that information she did earlier this year that we'll update and provide that to you all as well.
It's a little hard to do, you can't really compare apples to apples.
It's not exact, but I mean, you just can see percentages wise.
We have
what
dynamic pricing and a lot of people have not moved to that yet, although they're considering it. So,
But what's our published rate? I mean, I know that we have dynamic pricing that the pros have, where you
and
can
finding it's
change.
about 3 to 5% what they have raised it, so we're comfortable, but I do have the data and I will put together for
Yeah,
that.
that'd be great.
But the good news about our situation is that we are fluid enough that if we do raise them up and we find out that that is starting, we're gonna know pretty quickly.
Agreed.
We're gonna know pretty quickly, so then it's like, okay, well now we maybe have overshot the moon a little bit, and now we need to go the other direction. So that is a nice thing about the way our fees are now and the way they're constructed and our ability to have that flexibility of dynamic pricing, because back in the day,
It was pulling teeth to change anything.
we would raise fees and it would take, and you guys don't remember this because none of y'all were here, I was, but it was 6 months of meetings, and followed in 6 months of meetings and justifications and all the reasons we got to raise fees. And you guys had to eventually either decide if we were going to pass the fees or not pass the fees, and then it had to go through council, and council had to approve it. And quite frankly, if one person from the public came to council and said no, they might just say no. And it was very difficult for us.
The problem we had in the past is, and I don't think this board's like this at all, we had a lot of board members that basically told us what they're gonna pay. And that's really how it was. And it was really a horrible way that business was done here for a lot of years. I think it's one of the reasons we're behind on so many projects. We weren't generating the revenues that we should have for a lot of years.
The dynamic pricing has changed that. That started the process, even before COVID. If you go back to when we started the process of dynamic pricing, you look at our incremental increases in revenue year over year. Yes, COVID helped us, but we were already digging our way out simply because we were charging differently. And back then, we were charging less to attract more people. Now we're charging more. And actually, keeping around stable, but charging more and making more, which is nice because if you have nothing but wall-to-wall golfers all the time, it almost is always really slow on the golf course. So it's really the flexibility we have now. That's the best thing we did.
Another thing with dynamic pricing, as far as our competitors, I don't know about you guys, but I go online and I look at, okay, what's Saddleback charging this weekend?
Well,
we got a better product than they do.
Yeah, we do.
And there's times where they're charging a hell of a lot more than we are. So, I'll talk to the guys with golf, and I was like, hey, let's dynamic up a little bit, during this time slot. So that dynamic pricing has given us a lot of leverage to maximize revenues when we can. And also, not so much past couple of years, but also the opportunity to discount to backfill those slow times.
Just out of curiosity, have you had any public feedback on the cart fee increase? No. No.
For example, Saddleback, $20, we're 18.
Yeah.
The only other comment that I had was about the range balls increasing, and explained to that person, and they were okay with that afterwards. But generally, a little bit of feedback initially about going up $5, but
not bad.
Nothing real serious.
Even at work, because we interface with the customers constantly, and as a matter of fact, wow, you guys have great prices here. We're like on our maximum.
I don't think there's any review that says it's overpriced.
What's that?
I've never seen any review that says it was overpriced.
Yeah.
Hugh Creek is $100 plus golf course all over the U.S. because I play a lot of golf.
Exactly.
The courses comparable to yours and even Twins, they're 100 plus.
Yep.
I mean, what's the Saddleback now? $85. Right.
But even with all that said,
Yeah, but the West Nile is free if you go over there.
Yeah.
with all that said, my personal concern is, as an industry, that if we're all not careful, we're all going to price ourselves out. I mean, we want to maximize revenues, but I think we all need to be careful.
Backside there, by the park four, that's right.
The other thing, just to add, that we no longer have to go to council to have our fees approved. When we went to dynamic pricing, council delegated that authority to the city manager, who then delegated that to me to be able to set fees and because we can't say we want to raise $5 and have to wait 2 weeks to get to council, and then we want to lower it $3 and we have to wait another 2 weeks. So it just wouldn't work that way. So we've been very lucky to have trust put in the staff and the pros to be able to be responsive.
Which has been great. And even hearing your feedback right now, I'm thinking, okay. So,
Any more from the staff? Finally, we have the items from the board, and I'd like to start this off. As you may all know or don't know, I'm 84 years old. I used to have 3 guys I used to play golf with all the time for the last 10 or 15 years, and unfortunately, they've all passed away. So as a result of that, I ended up playing with people I don't know. Like this morning, I played with 2 nurses. What I'm getting into. So I get a feedback from people that I don't know, et cetera, and I'll ask them questions. What do you like about the course? Or is there something you'd like to see different or anything like that? So along these lines of talking about fees, I played with 3 guys. They were in their 30s, I guess, and so it was really nice. That's nice. One nice thing is everybody I played with is really nice. So anyway, I said, well, where are you from? And they said, well, we're from Erie. I said, well, why are you playing here? First thing was, well, the price is really nice. Number 2, it's close. Number 3, the course is in fantastic condition, and the greens are exceptional. So, Keith, I wanted to pass that on to you, but they raved about the course and how good it was and how good the greens were. And yeah, the greens were I played here, so they're really nice. So I wanted to pass that on to you. Well, I said, is there anything that you'd like to see change? And they said, yes. I said, what's that? It says golf etiquette. I thought that was, and they've played here a long time. And they said they knew that because of the sickness we had, that we had a lot of new players. And they said, I guess I don't, they were talking to me, and said, I don't know how you would tell them how to play to improve their etiquette, but I don't know if anyone has any ideas about that, what you can do, but I've actually played with several different groups that have complained about the etiquette of people in front of them. And I think it's probably because we do have a bunch of new players, and maybe that's it. And I don't know how to get that out into the group. So I thought I'd pass that on.
We have a blog that Danny started and Ryan and the pros have done some. I did one on Walmart repair, but I just don't know if that's out there enough to where people are seeing it and all that, or there's a way to, send it out on mass emails, right?
I sent it out.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that's kind of one
And
of
I
the
try to
things.
connect it back to the website so they can go through the previous.
But yeah, you gotta scroll down a little bit on the website, and I forget what you call it, what you call the blog.
I think part of the problem.
Around the course.
Part of the problem ends up being is that because some of the courses are at a lower price, they think that it's a lower quality product.
Yeah.
And so they don't feel they have to do the etiquette. They feel like this is a place that they can come from and hacks.
They pay their money and they
do
what they want.
Yeah, exactly. They don't waste divots. They're just here drinking, doing whatever. Don't care where they're driving, how they're reacting, whatever. That's been my experience on groups I've seen when I've played out here and over the last year or two. Is that, and it's not all of them. It's just 2 or 3 groups in an 18-hole that you see in 4.5 hours. But they stick out.
Not all of them, but there's plenty of them.
Yeah.
We have a lot of new 20 and 30-year-olds that are coming here, which is great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's awesome. I mean, golf is strong. We need those younger guys to keep it that way. But you're right. The etiquette has
Deteriorated.
it's.
I think
changed.
the marshals might be helpful.
My question.
No.
Some of the people,
Nobody wants to listen to a marshal.
some of the people
Yeah.
are replaced.
I was a marshal. Nobody listens to a marshal.
Thank you.
So
Well,
it's
just to give you a brief synopsis of what we're dealing with. I mean, we have this, we have all these folks like yourselves who understand etiquette, who taught your children etiquette, who made golfers out of your children and taught them etiquette. My father taught me etiquette. My neighbor taught me etiquette. I threw a club once, and that was the last one I threw around the Okay, I learned etiquette from folks that were older than me that I played golf with. This group of kids that are now playing golf, they all got forced into golf because they couldn't do anything else. And nobody has taught these people etiquette. And then even more of that, you have even older folks. Yesterday, I am out there giving a lesson in the back of the range. We had an event out here. It was 5.5 hours. And I had been here in this one group that were kind of all speaking about hooting and hollering and screaming all day long. And I'm looking over on 14, I can't tell if they're on 14 or on 5, but I know they're on the back line, but why are they talking to the people on 5? And finally, they kind of make their way towards me, and at this point, I've had it, right? And I just bring them over, and I say, okay, you guys, go in, you're done, go. And he looked at me, he goes, no, I paid my money. I said, no, you guys are done, you've been out here 5.5 hours, you're done, go. And this is an event that we had. And the guy looked at me, and I'm teaching a 17-year-old girl at the time. And he said, I paid my money, I can do whatever I want. He doesn't own this place. And as he drove off, I can't even say what he said. And then they all flipped me the bird from the middle of the fairway. They lined up and flipped me the bird. And that's to your golf pro, who's actually trying to make the golf game better for everybody else that's out there. Because they're ruining everybody's day. They needed to be done. So I basically told the whole tournament, you guys go. I had the marshal go out and say, that's it, last hole, you're in. Go, get out of here. I don't know if they finished or not, I didn't care. Because they were taking advantage. And that's what we're up against. And if that's how they treat the golf pro, let me tell you how they're going to treat the marshal. Okay, it won't be pretty. And I don't need my guys getting hurt. Because this guy was ready to go. He was ready to go. Just go. Just drive on now. And that's what we're up against. And it's tough. It really is. So you bring it to our attention, we know about it. I hold my breath beginning on Friday afternoon until Sunday night. And I know Ryan does too. Because I'm calling Ryan every weekend. Well, 2 broken carts. Got a bench that got knocked over because someone ran into the bench. It's just unbelievable.
So do we need like a warning placard at every counter saying?
They're not going to read.
No, well, you point. You point.
Let-
Because I know Ryan's gone through this.
Give me the ability to start throwing people off.
But if they're on notice,
Give me the ability to start throwing
I would
people
love
off.
to. I would love to.
When I have the authority to actually do that, then we have something. But we don't have,
But-
Sam and I and our marshals don't
We do have
have
an
it.
underwritten policy though.
Huh?
We do have that underwritten policy, that.
We can remove them, but good luck.
Remove them,
The only way that's going to happen is if you can somehow get.
And that's a
enforcement,
rare
That's going to be
thing.
tough for you to do.
Yeah, it's very rare that.
Because good luck getting them off there.
Well, I'm
That's
just
what
saying,
it
put them
is.
on notice. Put them on notice
Yeah.
whether they behave or not, whether you can enforce it or not. But if it puts it in their mind
Yeah,
that I can be kicked off whether you can or can't,
yeah.
they might change their attitude.
This feedback is what Jeff's asking for, and this is the feedback we need. The board of the past passed the fees. The feedback to help us kind of grow this next generation and give them the etiquette they need. Okay? And we can't be out there with each individual group giving it to them. But getting that feedback and getting some tips and some ideas, this is helpful. For sure.
Yeah, what if you had a sign on the first team, so out there, we really appreciate good etiquette, or, that's something that really even, if some people don't even probably even know that there's golf etiquette.
And that's exactly what it is. The guys come in, they have, which is actually kind of cool. I like the music going as well, but that's kind of the new thing. Sometimes they play a little too loud. There's certain things that, most of them are not bad guys like that. Most of them are having a great time. They're just wild and crazy, and they're actually great customers. So we it's a kind of a fine line. You don't want to
which is, you know,
Make the game not enjoyable for these guys.
if you don't want to deal with them, don't play on the weekends. That's the thing. You come out in the afternoons on the weekends, that's when they're there. And we got a lot more of them now, and Ryan would attest to this. We got a lot more of them now because Haystack is gone. And Flatirons is going through some reconstructive place, and they're busy all the time anyway. So we got all the Boulder kids. And there is a ton of these Boulder, CU Boulder boys that come over and they play. I bet you we have, on a weekly basis, 15 to 50 groups of those kids. They were out here today. Boys were out here today playing, college boys out here today playing golf. I go, you guys gonna ever go to class? He goes, we start to, because they got classes tomorrow. So, and Sam's right, they spent, that little rain delay, they came in and spent $50 like it was nothing.
Well, anyway, that's one topic that came up. Then I played with some other people, and one of the group that I played with, her name was Karen. And what I was surprised that I didn't know her or who she was. She knew that I was the chairman of the golf board.
It was Karen Roney.
That's right. she said, I said, I apologize, I don't know who you are. She said, I know, but if you bring my name up at the golf, she said, there'll be some people that know who I am. She says, I worked for Longmont for 32 years. And so I said, okay. And she says, I have some suggestions. So let me just work this out to you. The day that we played, I don't know, it was hot. It's been really hot. And she said, I wish, this is Twin Peaks, she said, I wish we had some areas where we could get water. And I thought, well, I don't know, if we could put in a new irrigation system, we could put some water fountains in. But I played golf in Las Vegas, and what they do is that they actually have, I can't speak English anymore, big tubs.
Igloos.
Water coolers.
Water coolers, about every third or fourth tee spot, and then they have cups, etc. So I didn't know if that's something we could do here, if it was too expensive or whatever.
Well, let's rewind for a second.
Yeah, we have.
Because I play here as well, and bring one of these out every time I play.
Well, we all do.
And I fill it up on, which hole? Three's working, right?
No, three's broken.
Okay, so I fill it up on 4, I fill it up on 7, I fill it up on 14. So we have water fountains out there that are within proximity that you can get to. And I'm never thirsty when I'm playing because I'm filling it up all the time. So the water fountains are already.
What are you thinking when you play? He said he's feeling it.
So if the opportunities to fill up water is there.
Okay. The second thing she brought up, and again, other women have brought it up to me, that's at Sunset, and the bathroom issue. And today I was playing with a couple women, and they had to use the bathroom, and so we started talking about it. And I said, well, right over there, the maintenance, there's the bathroom. Oh, I didn't know that. And I said, if you did know, I said, would you have waited until you got around over there? And she said, no, I couldn't have waited. She said, I don't think I'd want to walk across, the fairway on 7. So anyway.
The cleanliness of the toilets, is that?
Yeah, I guess, the porta potty. So I thought, well, wonder if we put a sign there and said additional bathrooms are available over there or something. So I had multiple complaints about it. It's just an idea.
And that's easy to do, and that's an easy fairway to cross right there.
Yeah.
Right there where there's porta potty. Because you cross there, and if you don't see anybody, there's nobody coming, and they're not going to hit it that far down the hill. So it's an easy place to cross, and it's 75 yards from the bathrooms.
But you could easily put a sign there that said additional bathrooms over there or whatever. The third thing that she said, and she said that playing New Creek, she said, Sam, could you do something about some of the long holes for women? Which I thought was artificial, but there was a couple of guys there that played New Creek. They said, yeah. And I said, well, which holes are those? And she couldn't she couldn't tell me which ones they were, but I don't know if there are a couple that are really long for the women or not. I have no idea.
So like an additional set of keys, is that what you're saying?
I don't know, she just says, could you shorten them, or maybe, I don't know what you could do, or.
Put markers in the fairway.
You know.
I mean, I'm already there.
I have that same complaint.
I promised I'd bring these things up at the meeting, so I just brought that was the other thing she said.
Your par threes from the white tees are hard. For me.
So I don't know if there's something there that would be typically, really long, then say, okay, maybe we could do something, maybe for another 17.
There's 5 cents a tee.
I mean, the additional set of keys, one I could think of.
You do is put them out.
And we don't like them on the fairway, just not as happy to put some keys out.
And that's what we've done here at Twin Peaks. We have what's called beginner tees.
The 200 yard.
They're 150.
150.
Yeah, they're 150, and
But Gary's not a beginner. She's played in a league out there for several years at New Creek. She never mentioned that one to me.
Sounds like more of a wish.
Well, I don't know. That was pretty, yeah, she might have been kind of fun with that one, but.
Okay. The other thing was, about 2 weeks ago, I guess, I was playing up at Sunset, and I got out there, got to the clubhouse, and all the carts were basically all gas driven. And I thought, well, what's happened to all of the battery ones? And I found out that they were struck by lightning.
Yes. We had a lightning strike that apparently somehow fried 14 of our controllers. That took, about 3 weeks to repair them, give or take?
Yeah, approximately, because the carts were finding out that they're so new and the parts aren't really available for them, so they have to pull the parts off of the assembly line for new fleets being built.
So
are those our carts, or do we just rent them?
those are, so the electrics are leased through us. We lease them through EasyGo. So they're our vehicles.
Do we have to pay to do all that repair?
So they're under warranty, but warranty did not cover a outside
Because
event.
but because it's gonna be $14,000, we'll be able to do an insurance claim with our self-insurance and we'll get reimbursed for that. Doesn't help us for 3 weeks when they're not operational. So Keith sent some carts from here over, Sam sent some carts over, and so we worked well together. But that's one of those things you can't really.
Yeah, it was a weird act of nature that I have never seen, to be quite honest. So we made it work.
This morning, it looked like they were all back.
Oh yeah, everything has been repaired for the last. I think it was last a week and a half ago. They were all repaired because I had the Hanson on Saturday, and we had the entire fleet, all 30 vehicles plus 10 of the 12 gassers. We have 2 gassers that are having some issues that Yamaha or Massic's aware of. They just haven't come up yet. So, but no, we made it work well. Everything was down, but everything's up and running. So
Good. Any other items from the board besides me?
So the new maintenance facility at Dew Creek, any chance those bathrooms will be available to the public?
No.
No, because it's in the maintenance area. It's not quite like Ryan's. Right.
technically,
Because I do get asked that question a lot.
but they're open.
When are they going to get rid of bathrooms on the course?
Well, we've had different ideas of adding them, but they haven't worked. When we were going to build at the central location, it was close enough that we could have put a restroom there, but right now that's on the back burner.
Well, if there are no more items, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Any seconds?
A second.
All in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.